Fantasy Football Cat here, and I'm about to reveal one of my secret weapons in fantasy football. For years I've been following Greg Cosell, who works for NFL Films, and basically stays tucked away in a dark basement studying film for hours on end, and then makes regular appearances on fantasy football podcasts and radio sports programs. And in my opinion, Greg Cosell knows more about football than any other analyst out there. In fact, I would say he approaches the level of what coaches know in the NFL. So all summer long, I've been listening to Greg Cosell talk about rookies before and after the draft. I've listened to him on such podcasts as the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, the FantasyGuru.com podcast, and also a video series that he did on PhiladelphiaEagles.com. So here's my list of rookies that Greg Cosell finds intriguing. That's a word he uses a lot, and basically what he means by that is that their measurables, athleticism, and skill set make for an intriguing prospect in the NFL. The first player on this list is wide receiver Sammy Watkins on the Buffalo Bills. He was drafted 4th overall this year, and everybody thinks that he's going to be a special player, so this is no surprise that he's on Greg's list. But there is one thing to note here, and that's that Greg thinks that he's the best wide receiver prospect to come out of the draft since A.J. Green and Julio Jones. And we know how great those players have become. So when Greg says that there's somebody at that caliber, you want to pay attention. Now there's another receiver that Greg likes who's kind of off the radar right now. That's Dante Moncrief on the Colts. Greg really likes his size-speed combination. And though he may not do much this year, definitely in 2015 and beyond, he could be a major player. Think about it. He's a big, tall receiver who's going to a team with Andrew Luck at quarterback and Hakeem Nicks, who was their big free agent pickup this summer, only signed a 1-year contract. So basically they're setting the ground for Dante Moncrief to be their number 1 receiver next year. Now for the running backs, Greg likes Trey Mason the best. He says he can be a feature back. And keep in mind he was drafted by the Rams, who have a great offensive line, and Zach Stacy, who's ahead of him, was a 5th-round pick last year. I would expect Trey Mason to take over the feature back role at some point this year. He's one you should definitely draft. The other running backs that Greg likes are Terrence West, who's on the Browns, and Charles Sims, who's on the Bucks. Now, Greg was touting Terrence West before the draft even happened. Even though he's a small school back, Greg feels that he's got all the attributes of a feature back. And then as for Charles Sims, Greg feels that Charles Sims is a lot like Matt Forte, and perhaps will be used that way by the Bucks. Now, the last player I want to mention is a tight end, and he's really off everybody's radar right now, except for Greg's. His name is C.J. Fedorowicz out of Iowa, and he's on the Texans. And the reason Greg likes him is he thinks he has attributes that are Gronkowski-like. And most people think that C.J. Fedorowicz can't catch the ball because he wasn't asked to do that at Iowa. But Greg thinks differently. And Greg also says that the Texans, with Bill O'Brien, their head coach, who was formerly the Patriots coordinator, he likes to use tight ends a lot. And he thinks that C.J. Fedorowicz was an intentional pick to become a big player in that offense. Again, this might not be for this year, but if you're in a dynasty league, pick up this guy, as he could be huge in 2015 and beyond. Whoa, been talking way too much. Way past nap time. Bye.